Have you ever gone somewhere expecting a vacation, but instead found a new version of yourself? That's what happened to me. My name is Anastasia, and I'm from St. Petersburg, Russia, a city of snow, silence, and cold marble streets. For years, I've traveled across the world, chasing beautiful places, hoping one of them would make me feel alive again. Paris had lights, but no warmth. Bali had beaches, but no soul. Tokyo had perfection, but no pause. I thought I'd seen everything, until I landed in a country I barely knew, the Philippines. The moment the plane door opened, a wave of warm air touched my face. It wasn't just heat. It felt like a welcome. The airport buzzed with laughter, with kindness so casual it almost felt unreal. A stranger smiled at me for no reason. A janitor nodded and said, "Magandang umaga, ma'am." I didn't know what it meant, but his tone made me smile back. When I stepped outside, the world exploded in color. Jeepneys painted in every shade of joy rolled past: red, gold, green, blue. Street vendors called out cheerfully, kids ran barefoot across the sidewalks, and in the distance church bells mixed with traffic horns. It was chaos, but somehow beautiful chaos. As I walked through the streets with my camera in hand, I realized how different this city felt. In most places, people rushed. Here, they lived. Manila didn't perform for the world. It breathed naturally. I crossed a small alley where the smell of roasted coffee filled the air. A stall stood at the corner, wooden, simple, with 2 benches and a hand-painted sign, Café ni Marco. Behind the counter stood a young man with a clean white shirt and a warm smile. Steam rose from his kettle as he stirred coffee with practiced calmness. He looked up and said, "Good morning, Mom. Would you like to try something local?" I paused for a moment, surprised. His English was clear, confident, almost elegant. "Oh," I said, "you speak English?" He laughed lightly. "Yes, ma'am. We Filipinos grow up with English. It's like our second skin." That line caught my attention. "Second skin?" I smiled and nodded. "You speak perfectly," I said. He shrugged modestly. "Maybe it's time the world expected more from Filipinos." I didn't say anything, but his words sank deep. There was no arrogance in his tone, no effort to impress, just quiet pride. As I took the first sip of his coffee, strong, sweet, and smoky, I looked around at the people passing by. Everyone seemed alive, yet gentle. Even in the noise, there was grace. That morning, under the golden Manila sun, with a paper cup in my hand and a stranger's kindness in my heart, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. A beginning. I came to the Philippines for beaches and sunsets, but that first morning I realized I might find something far more powerful. I came back the next morning. The same alley, the same smell of roasted beans, and the same quiet smile waiting behind the counter. "Good morning, ma'am," he said again, with that same warm tone that felt like sunlight. I smiled back. "You remembered me." He laughed softly. "Of course. Not many foreigners stop for Barako coffee. Most go to the fancy cafes." "Barako coffee." He said it like it was something sacred. I asked, "What does that mean?" He grinned. "It's strong coffee, from Batangas, just like us, strong but still sweet." I couldn't help but smile. His name was Marco, 28 years old, running his family's small stall to help his mother and 2 younger sisters. He had studied engineering once, but life, like it often does, took him somewhere else. As he spoke, I noticed how he looked at people. Every face that passed by got a small nod, a kind word, or a joke that made them laugh. He wasn't just selling coffee, he was building warmth in a world that had forgotten how. I asked him, "You do this every day?" He nodded. "Yes, ma'am, rain or shine. Filipinos always find a way to smile. Even if the pocket's empty, the heart can still be full." That line stayed with me. The heart can still be full. Back home in Russia, people rarely talked like that. We were taught to survive, not to smile. As the hours passed, I found myself coming back to Marco's stall every morning. Sometimes we spoke about life, sometimes about music, sometimes we just sat in silence, listening to the rhythm of Manila waking up. One day I asked him, "Why do you think people here are so kind?" He paused, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said something I'll never forget. Maybe because we've learned that kindness is free, and it's the only thing that grows when you give it away. He looked up at the sky and smiled. You know, man, I think that's why even our storms don't win. Filipinos always rebuild, with hands and with hearts. I felt a lump in my throat. In that simple alley, I saw more dignity, more beauty than I had found in all my luxury travels. Every day I visited, his stall became more than a place for coffee. It became a small reminder that sometimes the richest hearts are found in the simplest corners of the world. Before leaving that day, I said, "Salamat po, Marco." He laughed. "Ah, you're learning Tagalog." I nodded. "A little. What does it mean exactly?" He smiled softly. "It means thank you, with respect." As I walked away, I realized something. The Philippines wasn't just a place you visit. It was a feeling you carried, and it had already started changing me.
A week had passed since I met Marco. Every morning began with the same smell of roasted beans, the same quiet laugh, and a short Tagalog word I had started to love, salamat. But that morning, something felt different. The air was heavier, the sky darker. The wind that usually danced through the streets now moved like a warning. By noon, the clouds had turned the city gray. The vendors started packing, children ran home, and Marco began pulling down the canvas roof over his stall. "Typhoon coming," he said. "It'll be a big one." I watched as the wind grew wilder, tossing plastic chairs, snapping banners, and sending everyone running. But Marco stayed, tying ropes, covering his coffee jars with plastic. "Come inside," he shouted over the rain. "You'll get soaked." I hesitated, and then ran under the small roof beside him. Rain fell in thick sheets, loud, endless. Water splashed against the pavement like angry waves. "Does this happen often?" I asked, my voice trembling. He nodded calmly. "Almost every year, sometimes stronger, but we're used to it." "How do you just stay calm?" He smiled, wiping rain from his face. "Because panic doesn't stop the rain. Only patience does." I looked at him, standing there, soaked, shivering slightly, yet still smiling. Behind us, a woman hurried by, shielding her baby under her jacket. Marco quickly grabbed his umbrella and ran to help, covering her as she crossed the street. When he came back, I could barely speak. "You didn't even know her," I said. He shrugged. "She didn't need to be someone I knew. She just needed help." The storm lasted for hours. Streets turned to rivers, power lines flickered, and yet laughter still echoed from a nearby home. Families huddled together, singing. Kids splashed barefoot in the puddles, shouting, "Tara, laro tayo." "Come on, let's go." In that chaos, I felt something I couldn't explain. Back home, storms meant silence and fear. Here, they meant togetherness. When the rain finally stopped, the sky glowed orange, a soft apology from nature. The city was wet, messy, but alive. Marco looked around and smiled. "See, Filipinos always survive, not just with strength, but with spirit." I felt tears on my cheeks, not from sadness, but from something deeper. I had come here to escape loneliness, but in the middle of a storm, I had found warmth. That night, as I sat by my hotel window watching the city lights return, I whispered to myself, "This place doesn't just survive the rain, it dances in it." Manila's traffic was legendary, but I braved it in a battered yellow taxi. The driver, Rico, greeted me with a cheerful, "Good morning, ma'am," and became my impromptu tour guide, pointing out landmarks and sharing jokes. When I said I was from Russia, he marveled at the distance, then showed me photos of his wife and 3 daughters. "They are my life," he said softly. Rico worked long days, but spoke of his family with joy. When I tried to tip him, he accepted for his daughters. As I left, he said, "A life without challenges is a life without growth. The traffic helps me grow patience." Rico's lesson stayed with me. Find purpose in the everyday and let love guide you. I stepped out of the taxi changed, grateful for the wisdom of a stranger. In Makati's glass towers and busy cafes, I met university students eager to talk. They asked about Russia, my work, and my impressions of their country. Their English was flawless, their ambitions global, but their love for the Philippines was deep and clear-eyed. "Tagalog is the language of our heart," one said.
But English is the language of opportunity. They switched between languages with ease, embodying both Filipino pride and global citizenship. Our conversation lasted an hour, full of recommendations, laughter, and new Tagalog phrases. They shattered stereotypes, showing me a future that was bright and confident. Language, I realized, was more than words. It was a bridge. Their fluency was a statement. They belonged to the world, but never forgot home. I left inspired by their intelligence and generosity. They taught me that true connection comes from openness and curiosity. The future of the Philippines was in good hands. On the coast, in a quiet fishing village, I found a slower rhythm of life. Mateo, a gentle fisherman, worked his nets in silence, while his sister, Lyra, a teenager with a worn notebook, gave voice to their world. Lyra read me her poetry, about the sea, courage, and the love that binds families. She dreamed of being a writer, practicing English with every poem. "My brother lives the life, I give it words," she said. Mateo listened, understanding the feeling if not every word. "You have given the sea a voice," he told her. Their bond was deep, two halves of the same story. From them, I learned that even the quietest lives hold profound beauty. Everyone has a story, even those who speak little. Sometimes the most powerful voices are found in the most unexpected places. In their village, I discovered the poetry of everyday life, and I was humbled by its grace. I made an effort to learn Tagalog, delighting the locals with my attempts. Words like maganda, beautiful, masarap, delicious, and ingat, take care, became my bridge. Tagalog was the language of connection, warm, expressive, full of respect. The word po, a sign of honor, revealed a culture rooted in family and community. I learned about kapwa, shared identity, seeing yourself in others. Helping Mateo's mother in her garden, we communicated through actions and smiles. "You have a good heart, you are like family," she said, and I felt it deeply. English had opened doors, but Tagalog opened hearts. Even a few words showed my respect and desire to connect. The language of the heart needs no perfect grammar, just willingness to listen. I realized that true understanding comes from humility and effort. In learning their language, I was welcomed as more than a visitor. I was part of their world, if only for a moment, and that made all the difference. Leaving the Philippines, my heart was heavy. Mateo gave me a seashell, Lyra a poem, tokens of a family I felt I was leaving behind. The flight home was different. I wasn't escaping, but carrying something precious. St. Petersburg's cold felt new, the familiar gray now tinged with warmth from memories. I saw my city differently, wondering about the hearts behind the history. My friends noticed the change. "You seem lighter." I shared stories of hope, patience, ambition, and quiet dignity. I wrote about my experiences, not as a travel blogger, but as someone transformed. Filipinos from around the world thanked me for seeing their country with open eyes. "You saw the real Philippines," one wrote. Their gratitude confirmed what I'd learned. The true wealth of a place is its people. I left a piece of my heart there, but brought back so much more. The Philippines had changed me, forever. Months later, St. Petersburg's winter can't touch the warmth I carry inside. The seashell on my desk, Lyra's poem, Rico's wisdom, all reminders of the Philippines' true treasure. Travel isn't about escape, but expansion, about the connections you make. I found meaning not on a beach, but in the eyes of the people I met. Home, I learned, is a feeling of connection you can find anywhere. The world may focus on what the Philippines lacks, but they miss the point. The true treasure is its people, their hope, kindness, and resilience. This is a wealth beyond money, the wealth of the human spirit. I came for beaches, but found meaning. The headlines tell one story, but the people tell another, one of hope, beauty, and transformation. That is the story I will always tell.